the scene. So showing a little bit more versatility in that role.
I think there's a lot to talk about in the draft here for Game 1. And here we are into Champion Select for our first one. Fox on the blue, Phoenix 1 over on the red. Gameplank actually the first ban here, so respecting that pick out of Zig, and there's that Vladimir ban away from Froggen.
Yeah, and also remember that we are on the 6.14 patch, so this is not the live patch with the First Blood turret gold and the fortification being removed from the bottom tier turret. So expect many lane swaps if the teams decide to go that way. One thing in this draft phase that I feel like will favor Phoenix 1 a little bit is they got to watch Echo Fox play a whole challenging best-of-5 series. And we were wondering whether or not Hard was going to be targeted with bans, or if teams were just going to be doing triple Froggen ban. Well, it looks like triple Froggen ban, but it's a Victor instead of a Malzahar, which I think makes the first pick fairly obvious.
Yeah, and that's first pick Malzahar for Echo Fox as Shen and Hecarim round out the rest of their bans. Karma Rek'Sai, though, the Instalocks from P1, going to take the power picks here, so maybe happy to trade the Malzahar for them.
Yeah, and I think it's going to trade the Gragas very quickly back. Hard has basically played Rek'Sai and Gragas as his main two junglers throughout the entire split. I like the fact that Phoenix 1 has been able to pick up Karma. They really love that pick specifically for the mid lane, and it keeps them open for a lot of different strategies if they want to do some peculiar picks right in there. But honestly, that just is a little bit of disrespect to Froggen giving away Malzahar, which has been the highest presence champion, which is pick ban percentage across all the major regions on this patch.
Yeah, and it's certainly a powerful mage, so we'll see if P1 have a plan for it. Maybe it is that Karma mid for Pyrian. Maybe the Zillion counter pick we've seen a bit of. We'll have to find out later, but Echo Fox, I think, seeing pretty standard picks. They're just happy to take the safe picks here. Gragas, you talked about for Hard, will be the pick here, and there's Soraka for Big. It doesn't get any easier than this for your first draft.
It's actually really true. This is exactly what Echo Fox wanted to play on Thursday when they were victorious against Team Liquid Academy. I am a little surprised to see Phoenix 1 give these picks so freely over to Echo Fox, because I think there are definitely areas which you can attack, but Phoenix 1, based on this draft, would either show that they don't respect Echo Fox or that is very confident that they can beat what they saw Echo Fox put out. And if you just give them the stuff, they've been shown they're going to go for it. So, I mean, you can almost... I'm thinking you can almost figure out the rest of their draft is going to be Sivir Ashe as an AD carry and probably Fiora or Nara as a top lane for Echo Fox.
Seems like that's the trend Echo Fox are going to go for, but Phoenix 1 do have some picks to make here as well. We've seen a lot of different picks into the Malzahar. We'll see if maybe P1 have something lined up, as Varus and Jhin already both selected. Varus is kind of that other, I'm going to say this slightly, Malzahar counter that we've started to see play a little bit in Korea, I think.
True. I mean, it's also just been a generic mid lane pick for Korea more than other regions.
Yeah.
And Pyrian has trended towards the LCK mid picks more than the NALCS mid picks if we look at his champion pool throughout the split. It also would probably push the Karma down to Gate, even though he's mainly played Braum and Bard and Taric this split, but he's had a couple of games on Karma, like far less than other people, because generally when Phoenix 1 picks Karma, they put it mid lane. With the Varus, though, that's probably not going to happen. Maybe we see a tank Karma top, but it's unlikely.
Maybe, as Echo Fox have actually insta-locked the Sivir, now just considering KFO's final pick here. You mentioned Fiora. Na's been his other big champion that he's played recently. So, like you said, Echo Fox, they're going to get whatever they want here in this draft, but I guess so are Phoenix 1. I think Phoenix 1 are just going for that strategy, saying, you know what, we are confident we can beat your best picks. And as a Game 1 strategy in a best-of-5, it's a statement to win here and win hard.
Yeah, and Echo Fox does not deviate at all from what they did
Why
Thursday.
would they?
Why would they? They're going to get the picks. They weren't necessarily banned away from the stuff that was working for them, aside from maybe the Vladimir. The bans from Echo Fox's side, we didn't get to mention those. Fairly one-dimensional as well. They banned Shen every game against Team Liquid Academy, and Hecarim was Inori's most successful jungler throughout the regular season. So I don't think Echo Fox is going to have much flexibility in the ban phase throughout most of this series, which to me makes it really strange that Phoenix 1 gave them exactly what Echo Fox was going to want to pick. All that does to me is tells us that, you know, Phoenix 1, they're really confident and they almost practice to go up against that competition.
Yeah.
You'd have to think.
Well, I mean, we'll see how they adapt, but drafts are locked in for game number 1. Last pick, Rumble there for Zig. Going to be kind of a decent matchup there into the Gnar. We've seen Rumble kind of pick to be more aggressive when you don't want to go all in with a big carry in that top lane, but you do want to try and apply some pressure.
Exactly. A pretty big poke comp is being shown by Phoenix 1, and Rumble can work in that a little bit. You poke them low, then Rumble throws down an equalizer, and you can very easily take an objective. They have relatively strong lanes, good poking physical damage in the mid lane, and the Rumble also makes sure that they have magic damage, so it's not super easy to itemize against them. Not something we've actually seen that much of from Phoenix 1 this split, this exact champions, but they prepared for promotion tournament. This is what they decided to go with because they knew exactly what Echo Fox was going to want, and they gave it to him.
Yep, seems very current, at least for Phoenix 1, so certainly been keeping up to date with more of the recent picks, but you did say it, Echo Fox got pretty much exactly what they want. Coach is going to shake hands. I think they both maybe walk away from that draft thinking they got what they wanted.
I should hope so, right? Because Echo Fox is just like, sure, if you're not going to mess with our draft, I had all this other stuff planned for what you're going to do with our bands. Didn't have to use it.
Didn't have to at all, at least not this game. Well, we've got our finger on the pulse of social media, so get your opinion out there and influence the fan vote there on Twitter. Vote using the hashtag P1Win or the hashtag FOXWin to show your support here in our first game of the promotion tournament into spring 2017. We'll have an LCS team revisit their summer performance, see if it's Echo Fox or if it's Phoenix 1. Like you said, both teams will have a second chance, but winning it here is much, much more comfortable for you than having to play tomorrow. Both teams looking at this best of 5 thinking, you know what, this is all we have to play to get back.
Absolutely. It's just 3 wins to make it back in the LCS. 3 game wins, of course. Phoenix 1, with the way they played the second half of the regular season, seemed like a much, much stronger team. We get to hear KFO.
Minionara is adorable. He's gone now.
Yeah, but what's really interesting about these teams actually is Echo Fox should be able to understand the type of momentum upswing Phoenix 1 is on, because if we think of the spring split, that's actually how Echo Fox finished. They had this huge upswing with a bunch of wins, and that actually allowed them to finish 7th. Phoenix 1 had the upswing, finished 8th, which means they have to play in the promotion tournament. But if you look at the second half of the split, Phoenix 1 was 5-4. So they were actually able to beat over half of their LCS opponents in the second half, whereas Echo Fox was 0-9. So like if you just base it off of recent momentum, yeah, you'd have to agree with Cyrene that this is a massive favorite for Phoenix 1. But you still have to play the games, and Echo Fox understands that better than anyone. They were the team that was supposed to come into the summer split and was supposed to be easy. So maybe they can catch Phoenix 1 being a little bit overconfident.
And the thing I like here is that it really just is this best of 5. Again, you do get another chance, but Echo Fox have to be thinking, well, we won yesterday, it was kind of rough, but we did manage to 3-2 TLA. If we can just take 3 games here, even if it does go to 5 games, we're back in. That's all we have to do. So both teams going to be having that similar mindset, but we do have a lane swap here to kick off game number 1. Big and Keith hanging out there in the top lane, and you can see Karma and Jin there for Gate and Mash floating around near the bottom side. So, like you said, still 6-14. Going to be seeing quite a lot of this in the series, you have to think.
Yeah, you always have to wonder how long that dual lane will sit up top lane. Zig tried to hop up for a bit of experience, was unable to get any actually before being completely zoned off the wave.
Great harassment there from Echo Fox's duo lane, but shouldn't be too much trouble here to just push this wave in. And already is on that side of the map as you see how Pyrian and Froggen face off against each other. Level 2 always important in the mid lane. Pyrian with feels like he should be able to handle this. I'm curious to see if he gets an edge in this lane, just how strong Malzahar can be, especially when the jungler comes.
Yeah, and we actually got to see Xerath lane up against a Malzahar in the last half of the regular season, last game of the regular season as well. And the reason you could consider this a bit of a counter pick is because the Varus can very easily get rid of the Malzahar passive. And that is, aside from being able to shove the lane, one of Malzahar's greatest strengths in the laning phase is the fact that if you ever want to gank, you kind of have to give the gank away because you have to move up, get the harass off, get the shield down, then your jungler can come in and actually be able to land CC. Whereas Varus naturally gets the shield off in the standard laning pattern. And that makes ganks less telegraphed, and it makes Malzahar play a little bit more careful, as well as obviously clearing the wave and getting the harass off.
Well, you can see both teams just working on those turrets. Looks like KFO going to be the first of that early turret here. So Echo Fox a little ahead of the lane swap, but shouldn't matter too much here. KFO already busy solo, denying off some creeps and getting that solo gold. Zig again going to take a little while longer, but Mash and Gate going to stay, make sure that that wave gets denied off, and might be a little more painful than they like. Zig's going to have to wait for one more wave, but these towers should fall relatively around the same time as Echo Fox to pick up their first turret there.
Yeah, so no major changes in the lane swap. It looks like we're getting the 80 carries swapping back, so we'll potentially see another turret trade. The junglers are farming at pretty much the same pace. The only interesting thing is how hard Pyrian is trying to shove while taking a lot of harass from Froggen. But you get to see Froggen's run pretty low on mana, while the Corruption Potions kept Pyrian in the mid lane. So while Froggen currently has the CS lead, Pyrian does have the resource lead, so it could swing back.
See Fanvote very close actually in this first one. P1 a slight favorite as far as the punters are concerned, with a 54% ahead there. Gate and KFO going to have a meeting though. Mash already here, could look to stun him up. Deadly Forest doesn't quite snare, but a bit of harassing from gate. That's going to force KFO finally out of that lane. So here comes Hard looking for Pyrian, forces a flash. Good reactions there from Varus.
Yeah, and also unfortunate that Hard did burn his flash. A lot of times Gragas can get the flash out by just body slamming because you have to respect flash away. Now that Hard's flash is on cooldown for another 5 minutes, his ganks will be much less lethal. But maybe KFO will come around and give him a little help.
KFO's gank.
I mean, what's he going to do?
Nothing right now. Pyrian already forced back. You know, doesn't have much else to do, so I guess he might as well give it a go.
Not a real gank. Zig's going to come and do the same thing.
Hey.
It's the shortest path towards the lane swap.
Towards free XP.
Yeah, take a cannon. Let's do it.
I think he's telling Pyrian is helping. I think he maybe just wanted to take a little bit of extra XP, as you can see the standard swap has come into effect here. Duo lanes and trios just pushing down their respective towers, and once again Echo Fox well ahead of this play.
Yeah, and the question is whether or not they're going to actually convert on any of this tempo advantage, because they can go straight for Drake. Ocean Drake in lane phase, especially with a Soraka, that's really good.
Ask and you shall receive, chat, because that's a really nice bit of map pressure there from Echo Fox as KFO knocks down the bottom outer turret. P1 still working on this one, but should get it in this next wave. But we asked what can they do with the space they've created. It is take this Ocean Drake here.
Yeah, that's actually a non-useless tempo advantage. Like, an Ocean Drake is one of the best laning phase Drakes you can get, especially this early. Because you get the regen as long as you're out of combat with the champion. And a lot of times that can happen just falling back from a wave, and then suddenly your health and mana comes back.
Especially when the lanes are this long.
Yeah,
I feel like
true.
Echo Fox is going to be happy as KFO just going to collect what creeps he can. Throws a frozen penguin into the back of the wave. And actually decently up on CS, although Zig is now collecting a little wave for himself as well. So things don't look too bad. Checking with the other lanes though, Jhin up a little bit. Frogging up a bit in his lane as well versus Pyrian, and the jungler's also farming up, and Inori did go Tiamat first, so going for a bit more of that carry style Rek'Sai build. Yeah,
and the question will be how fast he can farm to try and give himself a gold lead on Hard, because this is what a lot of Rek'Sais have been doing, is getting that Tiamat rush, then just kind of power farming and getting a few levels ahead of the enemy jungler and creating plays via counter jungling.
Well, Hard just checking in again, but no flash and no ulti means it's a little tricky to try and kill this Varus. He's also on top of a ward, as Pyrian's going to show him there.
All the things that could stop a gank were happening right there.
Tier charging up there for Pyrian as Frog level 6 with a decent little CS lead. Trying to hold this wave back and keep Pyrian off, but Inori maybe be the difference here, although he's busy farming with his Tiamat right now.
Yeah, and we're going to have to track throughout this game in this series the way Echo Fox decides to play. I mean, we got to see that very encouraging interview from their owner, Rick Foxhouse, saying these guys played their game against Team Liquid Academy. And Echo Fox's game was something that didn't necessarily work in the LCS, but might work against the bottom tiers in the LCS or in this promotion tournament. And Echo Fox's game is very slow, but it's very isolated to try and take advantage of some of their laning skill, because their weakness has been in the team play. But we have a little bit of team play they're going to have to pull off here as Hard's trying to counter jungle. So we'll get back to that.
Yeah, Hard looking for something here, but Inori going to say no, actually. Hard able to take that away from him. Nice little smite away from it. Inori feeling a bit of pressure there. Still up in CS, but losing a buff's always a bad one.
Yeah, he can take solace in the fact that he's 15 CS and 2 levels ahead of the guy that just stole his red. So he's not going to be too perturbed about that. And they're actually going to go right at Hard now, knowing that they have the 2-level advantage, and probably just take a red for themselves.
This is really nice from P1. Gonna get some team counter jungling. P1 have definitely come together nicely as a unit as the season's gone late and Hard. Cannot be standing there, snared up as well. Inori gonna follow in with a knock-up. Hard is getting DPS down. Tries to smite the river for a bit of health, but first blood goes to Mash.
Really poorly played by Hard there. What did he think was gonna happen? It was a team counter jungle. It's just what his team had just done to Phoenix 1, except this time Fox's Hard's team was not there with him. He didn't even have flash, and he knew he was 2 levels down, so very easy kill conversion for Phoenix 1, and first blood plus red buff going to Mash is big for Phoenix 1.
A nice bit of work there from Phoenix 1 as Inori kind of continuing to get ahead in this jungle matchup. Froggen again, just trying to push things out, doing nicely here against Pyrian with that Lost chapter, I believe, putting into the early Morelli Omicron for a bit of early CD. I also watched this one again.
Yeah, and you get to see the roam up. Technically, Hard didn't know the extent at which the counter jungling was going to be happening, but he should have at least guessed. Mash isn't even seen until he's shot right here, but then once he knows Mash is there, he tries to run. It's already too late. So technically the pathing and the lack of wards for Hard made that a little difficult to sniff out, but from a macro sense, fairly straightforward play by Inori, who now has a 3-level advantage. Temporarily, hard just at level 6, but it was a 3-level advantage on the enemy jungler.
This is Rek'Sai, kind of why the teammate builds the thing. You can snowball pretty far out of control, at least in farm, as both mid lane is going to go ahead and get their blue buff. So we finally rejoin ourselves into standard-ish lanes.
But we might see a fairly immediate gank here. Mash is level 6. They would want to try and speed up the Rek'Sai and go in for a gank if it presented itself, but Echo Fox smartly goes away. To get back to what we were talking about earlier about Echo Fox's game, it's very much about getting Froggen a CS advantage and KFO a CS advantage, and kind of just carrying through the solo lanes with Keith on a supportive AD carry and Hard on a jungler who doesn't fall far behind. He can have some teamfight utility. It worked against Team Liquid Academy, but if you fall too far behind in the jungle, it stops working.
And Inori is the type of player that does want to take advantage of that as hard. Forced to book it out of Phoenix One's jungle, body slams himself over the Raptor wall back towards the mid lane. Bit of pressure there. Pyrion has been, I think the pick has not quite worked out the way he wanted at least. Froggen's able to pressure nicely. I mean, it is Malzahar.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also something that Phoenix One very clearly gave over to Echo Fox. Like they were saying, we don't want to play against Anivia, we don't want to play against Vladimir, and we don't want to play against Victor. So they had 3 bans. They got to choose. They got to choose to play into the Malzahar because it was first picked, and Phoenix One even chose red side, so they knew the eventuality of what this was going to be.
I was going to say, should pick blue side.
They got no one to blame but themselves.
Get those 4 mid lane bans in
that
there.
25 CS advantage.
Well, thinking KFO still hanging out here in the top lane. Inori is in the area. The Prey Seeker just kind of shot by the lane, so you're able to answer back with a decent amount of CS, but KFO will pick some back up as this wave crashes in towards him. As is very common in these long lane swaps, we will have waves kind of bounce back and forth, but Zig feels pretty comfortable here with his jungler covering, and teams are really just trying to ensure that the relevant champions get farm early on. That's kind of a lot of what this early lane swap's about.
Yeah, I mean, you can even see the cull being picked up from Keith. There's no cull on the side of Mash. The CS is staying pretty even there. The deep warding is potentially a little bit lacking from Echo Fox's side. That's why Hard was able to be invaded, but now they have very good defensive wards up for them to extend this laning phase. And importantly, they have 3 pink wards in the river to protect Froggen, who is by far their strongest person on the team right now. Potentially, we see something go on around the Drakes if Echo Fox can get in position for that. But it does look like Phoenix One is way ahead of them on the prep, but now they're actually doing delayed recalls themselves.
Yep, looks like they wanted to stagger those back, so Pyrion's going to go back, picks up a serrated Dirk, some boots, and 2 long swords for himself, so looks like an early Ghost Blade there for the Varus. Morel and Nomicon finished for Froggen, as Echo Fox will actually make it to the Drake area in time to sit on a ward again. Hard seems to be a bad habit, just hanging out.
I always just have to kind of smile and shake my head when I see Inori rush the Titanic Hydra. Instead of just sitting on the Tiamat, he's like, no, I'm not going to go for Cinderhulk. I'm not going to go for something that I could ward with or any of that. No, I'm going for a Titanic Hydra as my first item on Rek'Sai. Very, very greedy, because some of the strength from Titanic Hydra actually comes from scaling. It has a maximum health component, but it's 450 health, 35 attack damage, and a big active cleave damage.
Just looking at Pyrion saying, it's okay, I know you're down in CS, I'm the carry now.
Level 10, he's 2 levels above the rest of his team.
And that's kind of Inori. He's got a lot of flair as a player, and it does resonate in his play as well, which is great to see. He loves to just go big and really just rip opponents apart. I think he said smashed in his in the early intro of today. I mean, you have to know mentality-wise, that's what he's thinking here, and he's done a great job early on of keeping Hard down, but Echo Fox are playing as a team here to get this second Drake.
And I think this is incredibly risky. This is what Inori wants. Inori wants a fight while he is the highest level in the game with the Titanic Hydra.
Oh, Froggen, that's not a good place to stand, but Inori's going to get locked in by the ulti from Mouse. He's pretty tanky though. Pyrion combos in with a nice little chain. Zig flashing forward, cutting him off with the equalizer, but Pyrion has to flash out of the bomb to get to safety. Mash going to take one out as Big goes down, but Zig slays Keith on the other end. Echo Fox kind of trading back here, 2 for 1 in favor of P1.
Yeah, Inori really didn't get to participate in that fight, but he did soak a bunch of damage and then was able to run away. And because Echo Fox chased through the corridor, it opened them up for Zig to run down the backline in that fight. And it is a win for Echo Fox. Even though Echo Fox are the ones that drew that fight out in the Baron and the ones that initiated the fight onto Inori, they still lose the fight 2-1.
And we have sort of reset the map again. P1 up about 1,500 gold, but this Mountain Drake does seem to be the big area that the teams want to be around. Inori can make it back down with a tunnel. He's actually top side right now, clearing out some additional jungle. But both teams just kind of rushing back to the area. We could just have another fight happen in a few seconds.
Yeah, and just to watch this fight one more time, Echo Fox did have the speed shrine available right here, but Froggen goes immediately onto Inori, who's on a pink ward, and they just try to burst him down, but in doing so, they take a fair bit of damage. And this has been one problem with Big, is on Soraka, he's not playing far enough back. So he's taking a bunch of collateral damage and making it very easy for him to get finished off in those fights. It was actually Mash who was able to snipe him. And then Zig very easily just kind of run down Keith afterwards. But Echo Fox again goes straight for the Drake. The recalls were late for Phoenix 1.
Yeah, it's not a replay. This is actually a different play, but it does look similar. Echo Fox this time, though, going to get away with it. Hard able to smite that Mountain Drake away. And he said it, P1 just a little too late.
Yeah, the recall timing from Mash was pretty atrocious there. Being in base as Echo Fox was going for the Drake, but credit to Echo Fox. They've had good Drake control all throughout this tournament, especially in their 5-game series against Liquid Academy. Phoenix 1, though, trying to set up their siege. This is the poke comp.
Yep, this is the poke that you talked about in the draft here. Froggen, though, plenty of wave clear. The Malefic Visions and some Void Links, so P1 going to have to kind of throw their head straight against this turret if they're going to knock it down. Looks like they might give up the push now, although some of them are sticking around that middle lane. Looks like KFO, though, going to get a split push going. He's got a nice wave escorting towards Zig, who's going to join him, and Zig actually got the top lane pushing as well. So Fox are going to have to answer some of that side lane pressure.
Yeah, Inori hitting level 11. We're going to have to keep pace on his level. Like, he is really
That
going.
is insane.
Yep.
Mash going to let the ulti rip.
Gonna try and poke.
Hard tanking it. Soraka, they're able to keep him nice and healthy, so pretty good little exchange there for Echo Fox, actually, defend nicely. Phoenix 1 trying to get in, but Froggen's wave clear. Doesn't have Anivia, but still pretty good on the Malzahar.
We're also going to have to track how easy it's going to be for Phoenix 1 to siege up, because I don't think it's going to be very easy. They're against a Soraka with an Ocean Drake. Like, that's one of the hardest things to out-sustain in the game. So their poking needs to basically get turret, like, immediately push them off, because, I mean, even though they use the ultimate of Jhin, everyone's full health again.
Yep. Froggen with the blue buff as well, able to clear indefinitely almost, as I think Phoenix 1 might have finally given up on that particular endeavor in mid lane. They'll leave Pyrian there to continue farming away. He's still significantly far down in CS as well. But the rest of the team are going to back, and maybe they'll try a different pressure point here as Zig does now have his Proto Belt, and Nori building into his second item, and Ghostblade's done for Mash as well. So everyone kind of starting to get to that first item break point.
Yeah, also have to note Froggen's level 11, Pyrian's level 9. Like, there's been so much focus by Phoenix 1 in the mid lane. It's really denied Pyrian's experience gain, as well as that large CS advantage that Froggen has been putting out, not only against Golden Glue, but now against Pyrian as well. Froggen is having a very strong promotion tournament this far.
Looking good. Certainly a big carry for his team. Needs to really show up here, and has done so far. Goes back, actually got himself the Rylai's component, so I assume that will be his second item, although it could be Zhonya's as well, I suppose. We'll see what he wants to do with the build.
Really wants it to.
That's true, actually. How did the book?
Yeah, probably the Rylai's. That's what Malzahars have been doing these days, but big is caught.
Big caught by an ulti from Pyrian. Inori going to knock him up, and Soraka can't heal herself. That's an easy one for Inori as they'll chase in back onto hard. Inori thinks better of it, though. Just going to tunnel away.
Yeah, but right there, Big trying to get some forward wards off without the proper backup. Pretty easy for Phoenix 1 to pick up that kill. That hurts. Just as they were getting lane pressure going, too.
Zig also in a spot of bother, but just going to clear the wave out from under KFO. Inori and Keith having a meeting, and Inori's very strong. Oh my god, that damage. Flash forward, Inori wants it. He's going to try and take Keith down, but Keith going to burn the ulti and run away.
Yeah, Inori did burn his flash. He actually kind of overestimated his burst a little bit, thinking he was very strong, and he surprised Keith with the damage, then he surprised himself with the damage, and then he didn't have enough damage to finish because he was so surprised or something. Either way, Inori burns his flash, doesn't get the kill, does burn some summoner spells for Keith. Does burn the heal and the ultimate out of Keith, but ultimately no kill.
Well, Inori, though, if that's the sort of pressure you can put out on the map, then we'll see if P1 can play around their real big jungler. Still insanely far ahead of Hard on levels, although it's only 2 right now. It was 3 for a while, and P1 going to actually use that pressure and try and take down the tier 2 in top lane here. Keith's going to clear out what he can. The rest of the team coming, and looks like they'll be there just in time. Is Big going to clear out that pink ward. Does not want to get caught out again.
Yeah, and the question will be, does this game just turn into one of those games where Echo Fox continually tries to get later and later, but doesn't have the team coordination and then falls behind, 10 or 15 kills? We saw those games happen fairly frequently. What's going to happen if Echo Fox wants to prevent that is they have to make some of the proactive moves. So that means more going for the Drakes. They already have 2 of them, which is very important. They're going to need that to continue to be the case. If they can get more Ocean Drakes, it makes the poking really, really difficult for Phoenix 1 and can let them safely stall out the game.
Well, next Ocean Drake is up in about 1:20, so we'll see if Echo Fox continue a run of good form around the area. Keith, Essence Reaver completed, just pushing out this bottom wave here. Froggen continuing to apply pressure there in the mid. He's been constantly pushing Pyrion in, really, still keeping a very healthy 40 CS gap between him and the Varus, and a slight experience lead as well, although Pyrion has caught up in that regard. Does feel like we're kind of waiting for the game to break open a bit. Phoenix One do still have a lead, but it's only, what, 1,000, 1,500 gold or so. Inori has not been able to quite convert into huge amounts of pressure, and now he's actually got a QSS. Yeah. He really just wants to stick on these carries.
Who needs a jungle item, right? I mean, it's technically he's got some wards going. He's doing his best against Malzahar. He knows Froggen's going to be focusing him because he's pretty much the lone tank and the lone frontline, so he needs to be very, very fed in this game. But I also think we're going to end up having a relatively stalled matchup just because we have a poke composition against a Soraka Ocean Drake team. And even though Echo Fox does have Sivir and Malzahar, they're not the type of team that usually is able to pull the trigger and create initiations. Plus, they're behind in the game right now. And when they are behind, they typically like to just kind of stall out until they're not. So it's a slow game. I think it could stay slow for a lot longer.
Well, we'll see if Phoenix One maybe want to force a bit more pressure, because that has been kind of their signature in the back half of their LCS season, was just kind of going in and catching teams unaware. Echo Fox, though, played nice and control. See if they can keep that pace up, because right now they've been beaten to this Ocean Drake. I think Phoenix One going to try and start it and pick up their first Drake of the game.
Yeah, and this could be very dangerous for Phoenix One if they overcommit to this one. But Inori is very strong and confident. Yeah, they're just going to get it.
Yeah, got his smite, does smite it down, and Echo Fox not even close. Big! Oh no, he's going to get tagged up! Ulti goes in there from Varus, and Gate picks up a sitter.
Yep, once again, Big in front of his teammates as Soraka. He needs to be able to play behind the rest of his team. Soraka will not do anything. It doesn't help at all to be right next to your teammate. You need to be behind your teammates. 3 of the 5 deaths are them able to pick them off, but that's also what Phoenix One's competition wants to do. Long-range Jhin into Varus, get the kill.
Yep, seen Soraka struggles versus long-range burst damage. Froggen actually did it in the game 5 versus TLA with the Lux pick, which was sort of ingenious, but Big certainly feeling it right now. This Pyrion just continuing to keep this wave trimmed back in mid lane. Turret's taken some hits, but able to keep it reasonably healthy. Zig was maybe in danger of getting dove here, but Froggen did not commit to fully to the roam up to the top lane. And an Ocean Drake's nice here for P1. It'll definitely counterbalance out the potential snowball of that Drake out from Echo Fox. And again, they're just looking to make a play.
Big. And look who they're getting.
Oh, Big, no, not again! Duke's out of the way. But it takes so much damage despite not getting locked down. That was a for sure kill if he got tagged.
Yeah, nice little side steps as well as burning his flash, but it also means he is less able to go around and place forward wards. It's going to make it harder and harder for Echo Fox to push any of these CS advantages. That was a Varus Q to make the Jhin root, and then that was pretty much it. That was all of his health.
Yep, and that reaction I think sells it.
Yep, shouldn't have been there, he says.
I mean, Soraka has to be one of like the unsafest support to ward with on your own, and Phoenix One gonna try and just push down this mid lane. Again, getting some poke damage in, but Echo Fox are very stubborn when it comes to holding this tower. Neither team has really been able to crack open that center section, and I think especially in the lane swap, it's part of the reason we're seeing this game kind of get delayed to this mid game and still hold it nice and close between the two.
Yeah, I mean, Malzahar is always going to be able to shove out the wave. If they have the Soraka there, they're not going to be able to poke down people on Echo Fox. So if Phoenix One keeps trying to stubbornly push down this mid lane, like, it is just going to stall out the game, most likely.
KFO also getting work done in that bottom lane versus Zig. Zig's been keeping up decently well, but KFO, especially in mini-Nar form, with the Hex Drinker and the Frozen Mallet all done, should be able to apply some nice little pressure. Echo Fox just continuing to, again, keep this siege away, and at least Inori's getting something out of it, I suppose. He's actually busy farming away. Can join, of course, with the ultimate when he needs to, but no real big go button here for Phoenix One. Again, you said it, they've really just got poke. They have to pick someone off with their long range or try and poke something down, and with Soraka it's been a little tricky. Echo Fox, you have to think, despite being behind, kind of happy with the way this game's going.
Yeah, and contrary to a lot of the LCS games where they were stalling out without a scaling advantage, there are advantages they can accumulate in this matchup. Like, the entire gold lead that Phoenix One has is concentrated on the north. Like, it is literally just the Rek'Sai over the Gragas, and that's the whole gold difference. The solo laners and the marksmen are all very similar in gold. In fact, Echo Fox has gold advantages in top and mid lane. And Rek'Sai is a champion who's not known for his scaling. He's known for his snowballing, his ability to take over the early and mid game. But as we get closer to 24 and 30 minutes and 40 minutes, Honori's going to be less and less useful, and Froggen and KFO are going to be more and more useful. So this is still a game where Echo Fox could turn it around.
It's also not like Keith is worried at all either. He's kept up actually very nicely in CS because of all this sieging. P1 trying to brute force it down now. They might finally get it. Ulti up on Gregor's going to clear out the way. They need to auto it down. They do get it. They commit quite a lot there, and Keith and KFO getting some free time in the side lanes.
Yeah, and I mean, that whole thing happened because they had sent Keith top lane to get a push off. Don't necessarily agree with that call since they were stalling out fairly well. Now they lose access to their 3 outer turrets. Going to make it a little bit harder to stall out, but the game will still stay relatively close.
And I think for me, now that Phoenix One have broken open a very central point of this map, what do they do with it? Because they've sort of played Echo Fox's game a bit. I think they've been playing around the Drake spawns, making sure that doesn't get a little out of hand. But they do think need to force something here. They've got perfect opportunity to assault the central section of the map. So get your vision down, get your pick composition into the right spot, start catching people moving through that jungle.
Exactly. I think they continue to try and catch Big out. I think because they have access to the center turret, I think Honori's going to go pretty heavy on the counter jungling and expect some team counter jungling by Phoenix One. That does start with getting the lanes under control, but already you can see Honori flying in there, shooting a Prey Seeker over the wall. He's trying to get pressure inside the jungle.
Oh, and they've actually maybe spotted KFO. He does eat the snare as he tries to hop away. Mash going to chase him down. He's popped the Ghost Blade for a bit of extra speed. Mash going to flash in. Whew. KFO forced to burn a summoner. Oh, ulti. Nope, KFO's going to juke it. Good, run away.
That felt a little ambitious by Phoenix One. Ghost Blade and 1 flash, but there's Zig actually on the other side.
CC'd forever. Can't really get away. Flash Proto Belt might be enough. And looks like it will barely save his life. And here's the TP back in. Keith getting chunked out by Honori. As Pyrion's also on the other side. Honori going to flash out to safety, but Pyrion trying to snipe Keith. He does get him.
The Rumble ult as well to slow him down, and Honori just slides out the side. Pick composition, chaotic game, and a lot of that happened because Honori was able to slide through into the enemy jungle, which he had prepped earlier.
And this is the sort of game Phoenix One, I think, likely thrive in, particularly with the picks they've chosen for themselves. Tier 2. Mid lane is now the next target here, as Echo Fox do have Keith down for 20 more seconds, but seen this one before, Froggen awfully good at defending these waves, and that's going to be Phoenix One pulling pretty quickly away from that endeavor.
Yeah, Froggen will continue to kill minions the entire game.
No matter what champion
always be harder to push in against a team with Froggen on it, but with that Ocean Drake coming up in a few seconds and Keith just being dead, I think Phoenix One is going to move to try and take their second Drake of the game.
Certainly going to look to do it, and they are setting up for Vision as well. Phoenix One have really cleaned up as a team in the back half of summer, and there's that very dead Drake. Plenty of damage here on the P1 side, so all even now as far as the Drakes go. Echo Fox do have a Mountain Drake, which I think will help maybe part of their scaling plans, but Double Ocean for P1, particularly in a siege, could still be just fine for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're still going to be able to siege well with the Ocean Drake. It just means their resources stay up, and even if they take poke, they'll now be able to reach in out of it.
What a thrilling battle. Soraka with Ocean Drake versus Double Ocean Drake. Could be some long sieges.
Yeah, it means when you fight, you better kill them. Otherwise, they're coming back to full health.
I mean, there are some squishy targets, certainly, on Echo Fox. We've seen poor Big get picked off a few times here. Keith was the last victim of the sniping.
Yeah, you can see he's even gone rapid fire cannon on Sivir just because it's so difficult for him to just get in range for like a single hit.
Not too bad on the offensive either. We'll see if Keith can kind of keep himself safe here on the Sivir, but we'll delay some of that real power moving late into the game. He's even got a Vamp Scepter as well, so I think acutely aware of all the DPS out on the Phoenix One side. Looks like Baron could be the next order of business. Gates are already kind of clearing vision around it. P1 have claimed the Rift Scuttler, so they have the speed train at their disposal, but both teams are kind of getting position around the area now that the Drake isn't up for the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and maybe we're back in this cycle, but they're just going to try an initiation.
Zig actually going to go for something, but pretty half-hearted there.
True, maybe he's just walking through mid lane. Relatively low cooldown on the Equalizer at this stage in the game. Still don't think it's a good ultimate. But with the Drake being down for several minutes, maybe Baron becomes the next point of contention for Phoenix One.
I think KFO is continuing to be a problem here for Phoenix One, because you can see what they're trying to do, get the waves pushing, start a seed, catch someone in transition, but KFO is constantly split pushing, even has a more of Mortius finished, looking like he really just wants to 1v1 Zeke for the rest of the game. It's been a KFO strategy pretty much all season long. Yeah,
and very rarely has Echo Fox been able to play the push and pull properly, because in this situation, You're 29 minutes in, he's pressuring the wave, which means that Phoenix One should be getting priority over Baron, but that's actually not the case, and he gets a turret, so well played so far by Echo Fox if they can dodge this.
Could be bad news. Pyrion looking for an ulti, finds Hard, actually is going to take a decent amount of damage, but relatively tanky on the Gragas, not enough to take him down.
Yeah, and there's an ultimate down from, 2 ultimates down actually for Phoenix One. Big should be able to sustain up hard, just depends how long he can heal with the Ocean Drake. Now it becomes a play for Baron. This could have been done earlier by Phoenix One in a sense because KFO has been down his teleport actually this whole split push time. So it's a very risky play they've made, but they're getting away with it.
Seems like Phoenix One maybe don't have all the info because that does seem awfully risky.
Oh yeah.
Getting away with it so far though, and Echo Fox are actually going to get a mid lane turret here. Phoenix One starting to show a bit of that shakiness again.
Fall into the pressure, and the game's getting later and later. Inori will be less and less relevant with his massive gold lead, even though he's the richest person on the map right now with 10,800 gold. He hasn't been able to make many plays with it, and Echo Fox is sticking right with him.
And to reiterate, Hard is still horribly far behind in this matchup, but
oh, yeah.
able to be relevant on Gragas kind of no matter what, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, that is the thing, though, about the junglers in this meta is they are enablers for the solo lane, and they are also people who can snowball the game by like 30 or 40 minutes. Never will you be in a 60-minute game and be like, oh man, that tank Gragas, he really has a lot of items. That's not going to matter. This is bad, though.
Not sure what Froggen's doing here. Yeah, he's popped the Ghost already. He's going to try and make a break for it. Does slow him down, and Ori's going to flash knock him up, and now Gate's going to flash him for the root. Froggen can't really go anywhere, and that's going to be a kill for Mash.
That could be a huge problem. Not really sure what Froggen was doing up there. We were just talking about how well they were stalling the game out. Let the games begin. Phoenix One trying to push bottom side. Echo Fox actually trying to push mid.
Well, Zig actually burns an ultimate, clears out one wave, but 4v1 right now for poor little Zig. Could have a race on our hands, but Echo Fox going to pull out after that one tower being taken. Have to kind of get back quickly, though, because P1 are still going.
And that's the thing. Zig is here to disrupt the recalls, so they might get the inhibitor off of this one.
Got teleport as well if he needs to join, and this inhib is going to fall in top lane. One little mistake there cost Echo Fox quite a lot. They did get one turret, but losing an inhib is not the trade they wanted.
Yeah, and the question is, how much more will they lose? With the inhibitor down, KFO running to the bottom side, and control of the Baron area actually just completely lost. So now it can be heavily pressured by Phoenix One.
Almost instant pings onto the area as well. Good vision from Echo Fox is actually there, so it's not free to just rush in and take it, but they will, or they should be able to move around, clear that vision out. Although it looks like they are going to go back now and spend some of their money. No threat just yet, but Echo Fox do have to tread very carefully. One of the downsides to the way they like to play is that mistakes cost you a lot more than you would if you were being a bit more proactive.
Very true, especially the later you get into the game, the mistakes cost you more. And eventually you have to do something to win the game, which has been a pretty big problem for them throughout the split. But even with all that, even with the inhibitor down, they still have good wave clear champions. They still have CS advantages in all 3 lanes.
This game is at least within touching distance here for Echo Fox.
Still winnable.
Phoenix One not too far ahead, although 3,000 gold isn't too bad here at 32 minutes. Baron, though, is going to be the big prize here for both teams as KFO for the GA once again going for this early Guardian Angel on the Narth.
Well, at least he didn't build it right after.
True.
At least he did a Frozen Mallet first and then the GA, so it's a little bit more acceptable.
Got a Warden's Mail as well, so I guess he's feeling pretty happy with himself. Zig firing shots away onto Old Hard.
He's transitioning to teamfight. He's no longer needing the magic resist against the Rumble, and when he's got a GA as well as a Warden's Mail, that means he actually kind of wants to teamfight. So this next Drake is something Echo Fox is looking to contest.
Yep, Mountain Drake up right now, so teams are in the area to contest for it. Phoenix One gonna make sure they stay together. Looks like a handover of the blue buff to Pyrion is in order here. They do kind of have to poke them off the objective. Echo Fox could look to be proactive here.
Yeah, Echo Fox is also on a timer, though, because those are super minions over on the other side of the map.
Yep.
That will crash.
Oh, P1 going to wait, but Froggen just going to eat some ultimates here. Damage is good. Oh, ulti out from Zig as well. Last bullet misses, though. And Big should be able to top him off.
Yeah, now they actually have to run all the way back.
Oh, Froggen! Sniper, Inori gets a 3-man knockup. Going to look to chase, but Froggen flashes out. Exhausted down onto Inori, but Keith is eating damage now. It's hard. Barely slams away and keeps his team safe. Almost disaster there for Fox.
Meanwhile, KFO still pushing the other side. This is getting pretty dicey, though. Phoenix One have a lot of people that can all hit Baron. Echo Fox have very few people that can contest.
Yeah, I don't think they can actually, so it's kind of a race here as KFO's going to look to try and take something off of this. Zig can teleport back in if he needs to, but he can't do it now. It's way too late. They'll take the Baron, they'll recall, but KFO will at least get a turret.
Yeah, now you have Froggen trying to clear the minion wave. You have a desperation take of the Drake by Echo Fox. If they can make it over there, they might be able to. Baron Empowered Recall plus Home Guard Boots. They get there pretty fast. Hard and Keith, you guys better hurry.
This is a little too much, I think. Keith gonna have to face check a very, very large jungler. Hard stand in the area. I'm not sure why he's on the yet. There we go. Hops out of the way. Realized that that's not a good idea. And a Nexus turret, I believe, fell as well. As Echo Fox could not combat the super minions fast enough. P1 gonna take a Mountain Drake for themselves, and this looks tricky to navigate these next few minutes.
Yeah, the power plays have started happening for Phoenix 1. They have the Baron buff. They also have an inhibitor down for the next several minutes. So that means take the Baron empowered minions as far away from the open inhibitor as possible. That allows the super minions to crash into Echo Fox's face while you're pushing the other side of 5 people, and that's how Phoenix 1 is going to look to make a play.
Well, P1 now pushing down this bottom lane, so we'll see if they can break yet another inhibitor and its turret. This tier 2 is not long for this world. Echo Fox intelligently not looking to defend this one. Looking to see all the damage that the double 80 carries do here into the turrets.
Oh yeah, and now they have one Mountain Drake as well to make this faster. Maybe KFO could teleport him, but he's already Mega Gnar, so that'll run out by the time the fight happens.
Froggen again gonna lose his passive. Keith, Match Story just trying to get some bullets, and Keith gonna get caught out! Last bullet! Doesn't throw it in, I think he ran out, but that turret's gonna go down for it. P1 just break the bottom wide open. KFO's actually still pushing out a lane.
Yeah, just not great cohesion by Echo Fox. Never willing to try a team fight, even though the gold is close, and I think the team fighting compositions would be close as well, but that's now 2 inhibitors for Phoenix 1.
And it's funny to see the tier 2 still up in mid lane, but Phoenix 1 are just going to pinch Echo Fox in 2 different lanes as the super minions going to provide a constant stream of pressure. Top lane inhib should respawn in a few minutes, but P1 just have all the time in the world, it feels like. And that gold lead is still not that big, but Echo Fox not willing to fight unless they feel like they've got a surefire win. Unfortunately, in League of Legends, sure things come very rarely.
That is very true. Although, with 2 waves of super minions crashing in, Phoenix 1 is going to keep the pressure up.
Yeah, I mean, they can just melt these turrets at this point. Still plenty of Baron left to play with. Ulti out from Hard, going to try something.
There's a teleport.
Where's KFO? He's around the backside. Oh, he's almost about to go Mega. Gate actually in trouble. Nars back in. Gate just missed the wall, but Hard's going to follow in for it. Keith able to get one. Echo Fox charging forward, get another as they'll take out Zig. Pyrian trying to kite around the backside. Is Nori going to get knocked back? Pyrian now caught out of position, going to get himself exhausted and forced to flash out to safety. Phoenix 1 barely lived, but Echo Fox finally pulled the trigger.
Yeah, at their tier 2 of all places in the mid lane, and this should buy them enough time to at least clear the minions out and keep the game close.
Top inhib has respawn. They're going to have to try and save it. Should be here in time, though. You can see that lone Nexus turret. One of the few structures left defending Echo Fox's game 1 here.
Yeah, and in not the cleanest fight from Echo Fox. Hard body slams in the back as the teleport is coming in. It means Zig is taking a bunch of damage from Keith. Froggen and Big are actually staying fairly far back, but then like KFO gets a lot of smacks into gate before anyone's able to help. That's because the 2 marksmen of Phoenix 1 were falling back around the left side. That allows KFO to kind of hop around on Zig. Froggen's able to ult the Nori, deal QSS, they continue to CC. Pyrian had then gone back around the other side to try and win the fight. So basically Echo Fox was able to split up Phoenix 1 in that fight, which is pretty huge, and that's not exactly what Phoenix 1 wanted or what Zig wanted as they're looking to kind of make that their final push, because this definitely prolongs the game.
Which is not what they want, certainly. Going to lose Baron on some key members here. Only active on 1, I believe, is Pyrian still holding the buff for himself. Not for too much longer, though, as it should drop off relatively soon, but maybe just enough to take out this mid-tier 2. So only inhibitor turrets and Nexus turrets left for Fox, and not too many of them either.
Yeah, 9 of their 11 turrets down, and Nori trying to solo the inhibitor.
Almost.
Yeah.
Made a good show of it.
He does have 15,000 gold on Rek'Sai right now, so he's feeling pretty confident. He's the split pusher now.
I think he's the everything now in this particular game. Talk about playing around Nori, taking it to an extreme here as again the poke's going to just fall in. Good little shield there from the Locket. Going to keep Echo Fox healthy-ish. Hard looking for Pyrian. Doesn't quite combo the Carskin though. P1 is happy to reset and keep poking.
Yeah, because the longer they can hold this position, the better their bottom lane is going to be pushing, because that's where there is a down inhibitor, and there is only 1 Nexus turret to help those super minions. So that would mean Echo Fox has to pull the defender off when that wave hits. So either Echo Fox initiates now, or they send someone back to defend their Nexus, in which case Phoenix One can down the inhibitor. So it's a game of patience, and it's about not making a mistake.
Phoenix One just playing back that huge wave is finally moving towards the bottom, but they pull away.
That's a mistake right here, because they actually had 2 super minions, which was going to require a defender, which would have given Phoenix One the window to take down that inhibitor. But they play it really safe, which when you play too safe, you actually do yourself a disservice, and it becomes a risky play. Because the risky play is that all inhibitors get up for Echo Fox, and you fight around something like the Elder Drake at 40 minutes, because a lost team fight there loses the game. If Phoenix One messed up that inhibitor take, they probably still get the inhibitor, and maybe they lose one person. Now they're in risk of losing the game.
And look at that, Elder Dragon up in 55 seconds. That could be the situation where Echo Fox might find a window back into this game. Again, not too far behind here.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, the Elder Drake objective that is going to be coming up first is in the lane where Echo Fox is naturally going to want to be to push out the minions. So it actually is very convenient for Echo Fox to make this play happen. Death cap completed onto Froggen, 70% crit onto Keith. It is a winnable fight for Echo Fox.
P1 need these wards down. They've got 30 seconds to clear out the vision and see if they can't catch any stragglers. Wards going down. Hard actually unwarded there in that particular brush, which is quite rare. Didn't sweep it out either, so having some faith. P1 again going to try and get some of these waves going. Top lane's pushing back for Echo Fox, I believe. Bottom lane still in their favor though. Phoenix One. Again, you can't set themselves up to fail in a weird way, but they do really want this Elder Dragon.
Yeah, they have some pretty good vision control, however, so it's going to be very hard for Echo Fox to get in. Also, I'm surprised Echo Fox is trying to push out mid rather than bottom, because that super minion wave is going to crash, and that's going to pull Echo Fox back to base. So Phoenix One actually in a pretty good position right now.
Elder Dragon up, but Phoenix One no, they can't just go ahead and start it. At least when not when Echo Fox are just standing right there, and hits the back up. But definitely in danger again, as Echo Fox kind of have to make a play. This is these big decision points.
I think Echo Fox should send KFO back to base. He can clear out the super minions and he can threaten with teleport. But that is not what they're doing quite yet.
Phoenix One pinged him as well. They saw KFO, so they know he's heading back to try and deal with that big wave. They kind of have time now. They've opened up space for themselves. The super minions are going to have some pressure here. Phoenix One. Did they just go straight for the Elder Dragon? It looks like they do.
Yeah, it doesn't die super quickly. It's a 15,000 health objective, but it's now at half health, and Echo Fox just now moving in.
Oh, KFO is actually going to start the TP. He has to go in now. Hard, going to try and steal it, but he doesn't get it. And P1, now Elder Dragon and Power going to look to fight, but KFO flashes forward into Mega Knight form as Matt just going to try and snipe some people down. These bullets should do so much damage, but KFO going to take most of them. That last crit, though, did tag Keith, and he barely lived.
And Inori doesn't care. He's actually trying to push the inhibitors. The true damage burn is massive on Echo Fox, so Phoenix One is going to continue the delay, whereas Inori might look to end the game.
Going to do something here. Phoenix One chasing Echo Fox as far back as they can, but Inori burns actually just waddles down there, doesn't even use the ulti, and looks to try and open up the Nexus. Echo Fox are here though, now they have to be careful.
Yeah, so no steal, very risky play there by Phoenix One, but because they're able to secure it, not even a smite that got the last hit was actually mash. It puts them in a very good position.
Got the bottom in hit back as well, so do have additional pressure coming back in. Looks like Phoenix One don't go for it all though. They'll play again a little safer and actually do have to deal with that top wave, as looks like they'll just back off, clear that out, and maybe just reset for Baron at this point. It is back alive. You can see the ping's already there for P1, knowing that that's their next objective.
Absolutely. The Elder Drake is only a 2-minute buff, so they get a bit of a push there. The game doesn't necessarily end for Echo Fox, but it puts Phoenix One in a better position to be able to win the game.
And I do feel like this game is a lot closer than maybe Phoenix One wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Given the position that they navigated to. Echo Fox, though, kind of getting closer to a clean fight here and maybe just turning this game back around again. The goal leader's not really gotten over, I don't think it's gotten over 5K all game long. Echo Fox have kept it surprisingly close. It's just that P1 are a little bit better at dictating to them in these key moments, but it only takes one to turn something around here. Phoenix One going to have to tread still carefully.
Exactly. A late game Sivir, a late game Malzahar, those things are pretty devastating in team fights. And Jhin can be pretty strong as well, but it's just not the same as 70% crits going through your entire backline. The inhibitor being down is now synced pretty well for Phoenix One though, so I think this Baron should be pretty easy for them to take. Although Echo Fox...
Echo doesn't have his teleport, so I don't know how I feel about this one. Echo Fox poking their way in, but Phoenix One get the Baron. Echo Fox wisely disengages hard, maybe caught. Deadly Flourish gonna land. Just snares him on the back end as he buffers a body slam away. P1 though not done, they're gonna shove down mid lane.
Yeah, so basically Echo Fox needs to buy themselves enough time with those super minions in the bottom side that they would be able to get a fight off in the mid lane. They have no teleport up for KFO, so it's really hard for them to flank. When that teleport is up, maybe they get a fight. For now, though, it's going to be really difficult for them to hold this turret.
Yep, we've got a nice little laning pink ward as well, so just constant poke coming in. Keith should not be standing there, needs the tank. Froggen actually taking shots as well. Big! He's a huge bullet, but Heartless in! Looking for something here, and Nori sort of cut off from the rest of his team. Good equalizer from Zig, though. Gonna cut Echo Fox in half. Means they can't really advance through that while it's up, and Perian still throwing poke in. And Inori very sneaky, going to top lane.
Trying to keep that pressure up, but they used a lot of ultimates and didn't get the turret. I actually like Keith's forward positioning because he's the one who needs to clear the minions, and he did just that. But the next wave is here. I don't know if they can do it again.
KFO! Almost making those things. Gonna get chunked out. All the Mikhails, but the Zonya's gonna be burnt as well. Now Nas in. KFO gets 3. Huge ult there as Match goes down as well. And Echo Fox shot one down. Like, take out Period. That actually might be enough.
Pastry, we're 45 minutes in. At this point, Echo Fox could get an inhibitor, maybe more. It'll all depend on how well Inori can distract. Hard is trying to neutralize him as best as possible. It might be enough.
I don't know if he can stop Inori from taking an inhib, but that's what Inori's going to try. The rest of Echo Fox, though, going to push down, and Inori might go
Inori's
for it
trying
all.
to go for the Nexus turret. They have nothing but supports back here to stop him, and that's a lot of minions right now.
Pressure coming
Oh
in,
my
but
goodness.
there's nothing else here. Inori taking turret damage is not good news. Looking for Big, they're going to go straight in for it, but Hart looks to disengage. KFO breaks one in mid. Echo Fox aren't done there in the base.
25
Inori
seconds
has
left.
to
He's out.
book it.
He has to defend, actually. Gate's now getting caught.
Oh no, Gay gets ulted up by the mouth, but he does manage to get himself out, I think. Echo Fox, though, might just look to try and take it. They want to get him. 10 seconds left on the rest of the carries, and Nori needs to buy time. Froggen gets himself caught under the turret, and Gate gonna try and take him down. He does take him, but KFO gonna look to try and take the rest of it down. He's pretty
5
tanky.
seconds until period's up.
Mashes up here, KFO now is not safe. KFO's knocked out. He can't get out. A key kills the GA, pops in, and Keith has to bail.
What an ending to this first game. It is still not over, but those are massive death timers, and there is one Nexus turret alive for Echo Fox. Plus, Phoenix 1 will be able to rush with 4 people, so now, without the soul laners, Echo Fox would have to try and defend. This could swing right back, and Phoenix 1 could end on their next push.
Almost the same situation, but what a ridiculous circumstance.
Keep in mind, though, there are no Nexus turrets, so instead of trying to defend, I think Keith is actually going to try and backdoor. Watching the fight, massive ultimate from KFO, a bunch of damage from Malzahar allows them to get this, but we need to get back to live because Keith is getting caught. This could be the game.
Not good news. Keith, he's dead. Oh no. Heart sink there for the Echo Fox fans as Zig now going to move forward there onto Hart. He's dead as well, and that should be it here for Phoenix 1, closing out a blockbuster game #1.
Yeah, because it was such a tricky situation. Keith didn't think that he could hold without his soul laners, so he was trying to backdoor, but Phoenix 1 sniffed it out. They were able to catch him. Now Froggen is up, but they're down inhibitors, so now it's on him to try and hold against the world.
KFO up now as well. It's 3v5 as Phoenix 1 going to try and take it. Froggen going to get snared up. He burns the ultimate, but that's not enough. Ziggs is going to Zonies himself under the turret as KFO getting shredded by P1. The Nexus now open, and Phoenix 1 will claim the first game.
Oh my goodness, Pastry Time. We talked about how the game could turn around for Echo Fox, and it almost did. But at the end of it, Phoenix 1 was able to make the right calls in the clutchest situations and walk away with the game 1 win.
Very rarely do we set ourselves up for that.